Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Hearings Committee meeting on the 22nd of August. Welcome to everybody who has come up in our public gallery here. And I shall open our meeting this morning with a karakia tingatanga. Mai iti pai monga raro ke te tai, mai iti awa tonga raro ke te awa raki. Tini e te hapori, awhi ai e taratahi. Whano, haere mai te toki. Homie, huie, tai. Do we don't have any apologies? Awesome, thank you. Do any members of the committee have any conflicts of interest to declare? No conflicts. Awesome. So we'll go straight into our public forum. So as I've mentioned to you all, that we sort of have an attendance to speak. So a bell will ring, or Robin will let you know, and then if you allow enough time for us, about 3 minutes or so, or more if you like, for us to have any questions for you. So thank you very much for making submissions and for coming along today too. So the first person I'd like to invite is Peter Rayner.
Hello, everybody.
Take a seat, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here today. I've just come because I saw the thing in the paper about the how you're assessing camping rules and the new laws and stuff. And I just wish to make it clear to you that with these self-containment rules, if you're provided a loo at the facility, you negate the reason for the rule. For example, at the cliffs, you've got that flushing toilet. It's the only flushing toilet by a river in the Wairarapa, as my dad pointed out to me. And you've got a camping culture there with tents every Christmas. You've got long drops at Gladstone. And my challenge to you is, if you have a campsite that doesn't have facilities, give them facilities rather than regulations. Leaving them available for the public.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Committee, does anyone have any questions for Peter? It's very clear and succinct.
Yep.
No questions.
I haven't got any questions for Peter.
Thank you so much for making the time to come. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yep.
We are going a little early, but Jean, would you like to come up? So Jean's from the Salvation Army.
Morena koutou. This is regarding the sale of the store that we have across the road. And I just wanted to share with you all a few things and struggles and so forth that we've noticed over the past 12 months especially. So since October last year, it's been recognised that the need out in our community is no longer within our low income earners. It's actually our middle class and our high class earners that we have out in our community. And it's been recognised nationally, so it's not just in this area. We have people that wouldn't normally shop in our shops because there's a need, obviously, because of the cost of living, etc., that we all know about. I didn't bring any stats because everybody in our whole country know how much of a struggle it is out there regarding living. So yes, our store is more than just a shop. It's actually where we sell goods, but it's also a contact for those who need in our community. And we're so blessed to have our core officers out in our community who are actually on the ground and seeing face to face all those struggles that different people are facing. And that's housing, food, getting product from our store to put into their houses because they can't afford. So yeah, it's pretty widespread, and it's even increasing even more so. I just want to be clear also, the money that we actually make in our store across the road actually goes directly into our community, which is what our support. Where they're caring for our people and transforming lives in the community around Carterton. So my question is where do the people in our community here in Carterton go when there is that need? People come down Holloway Street, they would go to Salvation Army because the store is the place to our mission here. So it's just, that's probably the biggest question. What will the impact on the community be should that store no longer be here? As I said, we are funds that we raise in every store, and my role in this is to try and generate as much funds as possible in every store that I have in my area. And seeing, so I'm the area manager to the family stores, but I also have the opportunity to work alongside our core officers if we can to be able to see what's actually out there. Really sad to see where this cost of living is going. Especially with it being an election year, a lot of people have actually put a hold on a lot of things until everything's over. So, yeah, it's just the people in the community that I'm kind of concerned about. Because I have tried to venture in, hopefully I'm not going too long. I have tried to venture in having a look at other opportunities there are here. Potentially there's one, but it potentially may be up for sale at this moment. So, the likelihood of if the sale was to go ahead of us being able to be in another location is very slim here in Carterton. We do have a minimal percentage for anything that's earthquake proof, which is 34%, and knowing that there are some buildings that potentially won't make that percentage is even more of a concern to say that potentially we won't be here for the first sale. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jane. Really appreciate it. Would you like to come and take a seat?
I might put my back in.
Oh. Questions? Ron? Did you know?
No, I was just thinking.
Fantastic.
Anybody
else?
Any questions?
No, not really.
Even if it's just a general question, I'm happy to answer anything.
Anything?
No, the only question I got, you mentioned other locations and the suitability of them in our area is, and it's obviously it is arising as a bit of a problem for you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
As I said, I have tried to venture down a pathway to see if there's an option should this go ahead, but that's looking very slim because potentially it's going to sell.
Okay, thank you.
So you're looking obviously for a rental opportunity. Where the courts are down on High Street, is there any possibility, I'm unfortunately not familiar with it, is there any possibility of being able to highlight that a little bit more for people in the community so they know?
What were you referring to, sorry?
Down at the Salvation Army down on High Street.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. South High Street, sorry. Yeah. Is there any opportunity that we could investigate to sort of expose that more to the public so they have a place? Because I know you're obviously very passionate about people in the community not having anywhere to go as a point of contact.
Yeah.
Is there any way that that can somehow be expanded
Yeah,
on?
most
Is that-
definitely. But as I said, the family store that we have here, the funds we raise in that store go directly into the community. So if that store is not here, there won't be the funds to go back into the community.
Yeah. What support are you likely to get from Salvation Army Head Office, New Zealand?
Regarding what are you referring to?
Maybe finding another place that you can, or assisting you with leasing another place in Carterton?
Yes, I have. I have ventured down that pathway.
Yeah.
And I have investigated one potential site. But when talking to the real estate agent a couple of weeks ago, he advised that they potentially have a sale, and that was the only site that we could look at this stage. I do understand that Carter's was moving out of there on the 11th of August. However, the amount that it would cost to lease that building, what we make would go to that, because it's quite expensive to lease that building. Even if we were to part lease that building, we would lose money that's going back into our community, because if the lease is increased to what it is at the moment, potentially that's negotiable, but what they are asking for that site is quite huge, and that will take the money away from our mission, which is sharing it in our community.
How do the Carterton and the Masterton stores work together?
So the Masterton store, that goes to the Masterton community. The Carterton store goes to the Carterton
So there's sort of
community.
the collaboration between the two. It's very,
Yes.
isn't it, quite separate?
Well, it's
as opposed
not
to the whole
separate as such. If there's an opportunity for any funding to come this way, potentially, but it generally, where our stores are situated, that's where the money goes into the community. It's not shared as such.
So how long have you been in Carterton?
I couldn't actually give you the exact date because I've only been with Salvation Army for 12 months.
Right.
So, but I can find that out. I know they have been at this site for some years now.
Yeah, and previously they were on the high street.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions?
Right, thank you.
All good? No questions?
There is a question, and I'm thinking of a couple of buildings that are vacant in High Street right now. Is there any cross support that is available to you in terms of making the lease of a building affordable from head office Salvation?
Are you referring to the current site or a new?
I'm talking about any potential future site.
Yes, well, that would be in consultation with our property team, as well as my regional manager and the national manager. So that is potentially negotiable. So when I was looking at Carter's and also the building down here on the corner,
I'm thinking Sergeant's.
That's all part of ownership.
Yeah.
yeah, so there was discussions on how and potentially that could happen. Carter's was definitely not a site that we would move to, because that would take too much money away from our community here in Carterton.
So there is some potential that the head office is able to help subsidise rentals if the property became
Yeah,
available.
that's negotiable. Whoever owns the
building.
building, as well as our property team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much. If there's,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you for your time today, Jean. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Kevin. Welcome.
Thank you. Kia ora. My name's Kevin Topham. I'm the owner of the building that shares the car park behind 29 Holloway Street, which houses Cafe LA, Perfect Pause, the $2 shop, or Carterton Mart as it's called now. And there's 4 apartments upstairs. I'd just really like to speak to support for the recommendation that the council officers have made to ensure that the issues that are affecting the yard at the moment in terms of the water runoff from the building at 29 Holloway Street are dealt with as part of the sale process or before the sale process, and that any development on the site doesn't affect the access of my tenants, of which there's 4 of who need to go down the shared driveway, and they use the car park to access the way at the rear of the building to get to their flats. I really have no, I'm neutral on the sale of the building. It's obviously a pretty old building, and there's a lot of issues with the building now, including a lot of water runoff that comes off the roof and floods across the yard. So if selling the building and something else going there is going to help solve that, I'm in support of it. And hopefully we can ensure that whatever happens deals with the problem that's been caused. That's it.
Thank you. Questions?
Very clear. Presumably, when you say shared driveway, there is a right of access.
There is.
To your property, so.
There is, Steve. There's, it's an easement arrangement. So the council owns half the driveway.
Yeah.
And half the car park, and I own the other half, and we have right of access over, which is normal in an easement situation.
Right, so there's nothing that happened with the sale of the property could conceivably affect the right of tenants to access the back of it.
I guess in any easement situation, there's always the possibility that there can be conflict. Obviously, we have a good neighbourhood relationship at the moment, and with any sale involving an easement, there's obviously a little bit of nervousness about who's going to buy the property and are they going to be good neighbours. I can imagine a situation where the building's being demolished and all of a sudden the driveway is blocked because there's demolition trucks there or redeveloped and builders, and my tenants have no access or difficult access. We work very, very nicely with the Salvation Army, whose truck parks in the driveway. They're always happy to move it if needed, but yeah, obviously there's some concern.
And your questions?
Yeah, no, very, very straightforward. Thanks, Kevin. Really good.
Oh, that was okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. So thank you.
Thank
for your
you.
questions as well.
Thanks for hearing me.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of notified public forum. So if we're moving on to our reports, and our first report is 5.1. It's on page 6. And that's just outlining the hearings process. Yeah, I was going to say, welcome, Glenda. I was going to say, we'll just take it as read, but. Come on, come and join us.
Morning, everybody.
Yeah.
So yes, like Robin said, it's the background report to the hearings. So it's just got a bit of background about the 3 consultation items that we're doing. There hasn't been anyone there talking about 29 Belvedere Hall, so I just wanted to bring that up as the 3rd consultation item that we're discussing, and happy to take any questions.
Questions for Glenda on the hearings procedure? Oh, sorry, that's okay. Pretty straight. There's no questions or comments on hearings procedure. I'll move to the recommendation. We have one, and that's the committee notes the hearings procedure. Do I have a mover for that, please? Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Steve. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so the next one is the submissions. So this is on the Freedom Camping Bylaw, the revocation of the reserve status of the Belvedere Hall and disposal of Holloway Street. So back to you, Glenda.
So as,
Yes.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got nothing further to add. So we did have 17 submissions. We have originally 4 people speaking to those, but one of those people this morning. Yeah, happy to take any questions.
Hey. Open for questions on report 5.2. And so just bearing in mind that these are questions on the report for clarification. This isn't part of the deliberation, which we move into later on in public excluded.
No questions from me.
Have you got any questions or clarification? Ron, have you got anything? No? I don't have any comments, discussion. It is, yeah. Okay, so if we move to the recommendations on page 10. We have 2 recommendations. So the first is that we receive the full set of submissions on the proposed CBC Freedom Camping Bylaw, the revocation of the reserve status of Belvedere Hall, 583 Belvedere Road, the disposal of 29 Holloway Street. 1A, that we note that 17 submissions were received and notes 4 were confirmed to be heard, but in fact 3 as we have had in our public forum. And 2, we note that a public excluded deliberations meeting will be held following this hearings meeting. I'm happy to move those recommendations. Thank you, Steve. All those in favour?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Carried. The next item on the agenda is to close our meeting with our karakia whakamutanga. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te atawhai o tō tātou ariki, a ihu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga, ki te wairoa tapu, aki, aki, aki. Amen. Thank you, and declare the meeting closed.